Oh boy, finally, we have the patch for patch 13.21 because look at that. On the nerf section, only two things, Multicaster and Twisted Fate. I wonder why. Okay, now onto the buffs. We have Challengers, Darius, Misfortune, Nautilus, Fiora, Kaisa, Nasus, Silco, Ari, Belbeth, and Rise. And then we have Built Different being buffed, the Champion Augment, Riftwalker being buffed, Spirit Shojin, no adjustments, no reworks. So pretty light patch in the grand scheme of things. And I believe it's because the World Championship probably is going to be played on this patch. We also have Golden Ticket, Crown Guard, Blue Buff, and Protector's Vow getting nerfed. So we are going to get right into that. But Mort Dog Bless, Twisted Fate, and Multicasters both getting nerfs here. Definitely one of the most dominant comps we've had in a while and for like a pretty long time, because there was a B patch, but the B patch was really early and they did try to nerf it, but it just wasn't enough that time. So they still ended up being the best comp for that patch. But onto the trades. Challenger attack speed is going to be buffed at 4, 6, and 8 Challenger. Pretty solid stuff. Challengers were actually very bottom of the barrel. Like, I did not see a single Kaisa on my opponent's board now that I think about it in recent times. Multicaster bonus cast reduced effectiveness is being changed from 55 to 55, 30 to 35, and 25 to 35. Wow. So the only point in going for multicasters is to get the extra mana regen that you get. Is that even worth it anymore? Are multicasters completely dead now? I hope they're not completely dead. That's really tough. Because the big spike was at 4 multicaster and it got hit a lot. 4 multicaster is actually going to do less damage than the 3 multicaster of today, which is very, very strange to me. That seems a little... Okay, I know I was asking for nerfs. It seems a little much. If 4 multicaster is worse than 3, apart from the mana, I'm just talking about the damage, that seems a little odd. Onto units tier 2. Twisted Fate is the only unit we're shipping a nerf to, and it's pretty big. Even after our nerfs in 13.20, TF continues to have the deck stacked in his favor. Okay, it's time to reshuffle. Twisted Fate stacked deck AoE delayed damage is being nerfed by 30 at 1 star, nerfed by 40 at 2 star, and nerfed at 3 star by like 55. That is pretty sizable. The amount of nerfs and severity of Twisted Fate specific nerfs below may seem extreme, but so is Twisted Fate's performance, who at 2 stars on stage 3 outplaces most 2-star 4 costs. That is a lot. That's the thing, like, both these changes are very, very big, but he really was very dominant. This is really tough. I'm gonna put my money on Twisted Fate not being played at all. But I'm not that confident in that call though, but it seems like it, because these are 2 really massive nerfs. Okay, units tier 3. Let's go down a bit. Darius, Noxian, Guillotine, recast effectiveness. It's going to be buffed up a little bit at all levels. Yeah, we just have not seen Darius carry all set, actually. This is one of those cases. They keep buffing him patch after patch after patch, but it's not cementing him as a viable reroll carry. So I'm hoping it is, because he's really fun to watch, but I don't know when enough is enough, because he isn't even being remotely played. So all these small buffs, they don't really mean that much because no one's playing him at all. But it might be because no one's even trying, you know? That could be the case too. Maybe it wasn't that bad in the previous patches and the small buff actually is enough to make him like super good. Especially with a champion like Darius where he executes units and gets a reset, it's very difficult to balance him because like the difference between 1 AD actually makes a huge difference in a lot of fights. Misfortune, X marks the spot damage is going to be bumped up a little bit at all levels. Yeah, I want to see some Misfortune reroll. We only saw it a little bit a long time ago, I think in like the first patch. I want to see a little more. Misfortune, max mana buff. Okay, that's pretty, well, Misfortune is really good. Holy, those are really nice buffs. So Misfortune is another reroll carry that just missed a spot despite marking it. We planned on buffing her already, but with her nerf to her core item blue buff, we're giving her an even bigger buff. Okay, Nautilus, more armor and MR. Resistance is also being bumped up. I think Nautilus is 2 patches in a row buffed up now. Sona crescendo damage is going to be nerfed a little bit across the board. Tarek mana nerf. Oh, wow. 15 out of 85. That's pretty big. And then Vel'Koz plasma fission damage is going to be nerfed across the board as well. Yeah, I don't see a reason to play multicaster. Like, the multicaster trait nerf seems so big already because, again, 4 multicaster does less damage than 3. which is pretty big. The 3 of yesterday, I should say. Units tier 4, Fiora health being buffed. Kaisa getting buffed at 1 and 2 star as well. Yeah, I do want to see more Fiora Kaisa comps. They've never been dominant. I feel like there should be one patch where they are dominant. Is it going to be this one? It's looking like it, but let's go through all the patch notes first. Nasus armor being buffed. Sejuani Furia, the North passive attack damage on true health ratio is going to be nerfed at 1 and 2 star. Silco Undercity Tactics damage is going to be buffed. And then Silco mana buffs as well. I'm curious about the Silco buff. So he's getting a slightly larger buff to offset the nerf to his go-to blue. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I was about to say, I didn't think Silco was weak. I thought he was just like, okay, maybe like slightly below average. It depends how you view it. Because I view Silco as like a secondary carry. I don't view him as a primary. So with that in mind, I have lower expectations of him, you know? So I thought he was fine. So that's why I was curious about the buffs, you know, like, yeah, he's not the primary go-to guy, but like he's really good in other comps as a complementary unit, but it makes sense with the blue buff nerfs. Units tier 5, Ahri Essence Thief damage steal is going to be bumped up a little bit. Is this for the blue buff change as well, or do they want Ahri to be a little stronger too? It might be a little bit of both. Belveth Royal Maelstrom lash damage is going to be buffed up. Yeah, I haven't seen too many Belveths lately. Armor and MR also up. Rise Bilgewater mana buff is going to be dropped down a little bit. Same with Piltovers. So pretty good changes there. Yeah, again, with Ahri, this might be blue buff compensation, but like Belveth, I just have not seen a single Belveth in like a very long time. Next, onto augments. And also, not to say that Belveth is bad. It's just not like your first choice in a lot of cases. You just play Belveth because you got Belveth, not because you're like, oh man, let me like go for this Belveth. I'm building these items for her, and then like you get her and then you win the game. Like I never hear of that happening nowadays. It's more so like you get her, you play her, and you do well with it, and that's that. But now onto the augments. Binary airdrop no longer appears on 2-1. Pretty good change. So it is a little tricky to use there. Build different 2 is being buffed. Build different 2 no longer appears on 3-2. Build different 3 health is being buffed as well, and also no longer appears on 3-2. Yeah, I never understood these appearing on stage 3. I always felt it was a waste of an augment. Cybernetic Leech 3 is being buffed up a bit. Endless Hordes Gold is being buffed up too. I thought Endless Hordes would be a bit more popular. It just hasn't been. Golden Ticket chance for a free refresh is being nerfed? Really? Okay, so I think Golden Ticket was always fine. It's just that we've been in reroll meta, so that's why it's good. But if you just nerf the reroll comps, maybe it's not as good, you know? I don't really see any comments about it here, but I do agree reroll comps have been pretty dominant, but if that's the case, Golden Ticket is going to be good. And then in the metas where they're not dominant, no one's going to pick this. Parting Gifts is the next augment. We have Max Health Shield being buffed up. Riftwalker 35 to 38. Stationary support now delays all rewards. Training dummy and support item until after 8 players of combat. Stellacorn's Blessing, target attack speed being buffed up. This was one of the worst augments, I believe, but I'm not sure how to make it better. I don't think this is enough. Unburden 1 and 2 have been disabled, and then Wandering Trainer Gold is being changed from 4 to 6. Yeah, I've never used Unburden in my life, even though it shows up every time in my shop. This is the one where you get attack speed if you have no items on a unit. Yeah, I don't know what comps are good for. Also, like in this set specifically, there are a ton of items that just pop up on your board from all these portals and stuff that it's really hard to use that I've seen. Items, okay, Crown Guard, AP upon shield expiration is being nerfed a bit. Gargoyle Stoneplate base armor and MR is being buffed. Stoneplate armor and MR per enemy is being nerfed. Oh, so the base is better, but the stacking is worse. So they're making it more of a consistent item, is what I'm guessing. Let's take a look at what they're saying. So they actually don't mention it much here. That's really weird. Stoneplate, I generally always build it, but I like building it in comps that have like 1 or 2 tanks. Obviously, if you have like 4 tanks or 4 melee units, it gets less and less value. But I know there are a lot of players who prefer doing like Bramble or Dragonclaw, depending on who's in your game. But I don't know. This seems a little weird. This is like a direct nerf, right? Because it's literally just worse. But I don't know if it really needed that. Spirit Shojin, 15 to 25%. Blue buff, starting mana 40 to 20. And then Protector's Vow starting mana 45 to 30. Wow, Vow, they used to buff the mana because they wanted its identity to be helping people cast, but they definitely do talk about it here. We're making that early cast later by lowering the starting mana to 30. As a final note, blue buff and Vow have been too strong for a while, which means champions who use them well benefit far more than champions who have strong synergies with our other items. Okay. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It was a lot of mana. Like 45 is a lot, because especially since tanks generally have bigger mana pools for some reason. I guess Stoneplate was like probably a really good item though. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, the nerf is fine. Nerf is fine. All right, on to small changes. We have traits. Ionia bonus is being buffed up at 9 Ionia. Holy cow. Ionia 9 often leads to weaker Ionians receiving the Enlightenment bonus, which can be a bummer for your itemized Zaya or Ari. By significantly raising the Enlightenment bonus, we can ensure that even your lowly 1 cost can become a threat when enlightened. That's just the power of education. 9 Ionia was the worst performing like 9 trait, so I guess it's fair. So hard to get to anyways, but it's just fun to kind of have. Augments. Petricite Shackles now only gives 2 Damasias. Rising Infamy now only gives 2 Bilgewaters. And then Well-Earned Comforts, 1 health per component being nerfed a bit. Ooh, was this really that good? I know people like Ezreal, but I never really used this one that much when I played Ezreal. Radiant items, Blue Blessing mana is being changed from 40 to 20. Bulwark's Oath, 60 to 30. Bulwark's Oath Armor, 20 to 40. So they're just making the compensation from before to make the Radiance the same as the other changes. Same with the Stoneplate. Rapid Light Cannon base AS being nerfed, and then Spear of Harana AD getting a boost. They want like all the spear items to give more so of a AD identity, as they said over here. So blue buff for magic damage, Shojin for AD, and kind of less overlap between the two like we've seen in the whole history of TFT. Tooltips. Tiniest Titan updated tooltip to clarify that both the heal and gold are only triggered after PvP rounds. Tooltip now states that you gain 1 copy of the tier 2 champion immediately. And then now onto bug fixes. It's so scarce, Battle of the Sands can no longer be offered alongside Shifting Sands or Fleshing Arena. Units spawned in Overtime now receive Overtime buffs. Valar's Hollow now has its proper tooltip back. If Aatrox has a Demacian Radiant item, he now properly keeps it when he respawns. Aatrox no longer can pass a Darkened Blade to an ally marked for revival by Shadow Owl Rise. Fiora now always jumps to the nearest target when her spells kill someone. Did she not always do this? I thought she did. Maybe it only happened in some places. Fiora's target is no longer prevented from attacking during the spell. Yeah, because she's no longer invulnerable anymore, right? Fix a bug where joke and taunt animations stop working after player spams the emote during a hyper roll match. And then Umbra, health bar no longer blocks the joke animation. Fix a bug where Reckoner Arena Flames wouldn't shoot out sometimes despite hearing the SFX when a player would tap on this interaction on the Reckoner Arena. Cloudcatcher Hushtail Tier 1 now has their glasses back on the model to match their splash. Project Abyssia no longer has a brief delay for a taunt animation, and then Darkened Blade health no longer triggers before Darkened Blade boom hits the opponent. So a lot of cosmetic little changes there, kind of some cutesy stuff. But story of the day, yeah, Twisted Fate finally dead. Very glad it happened. It was a little overbearing, only because like if it's contested, it feels really bad. At least to me. I know there are some games where it's contested and all the players do well. I know that does happen, but I like hitting 3-star, even if placements are more important than whether you hit the 3-star or not. Oh, I just realized they skipped over the Riftwalker Kassadin augment. Did they like not add that in, or did they forget to change the? Oh no, they did. Riftwalker 3 AP buff. Yeah, that one's really fun because it's like Kassadin's a tank unit in this set. And making him into a damage was really cool with the hero augment. I actually really like the way that they designed that. But it feels like it's either the best augment ever or the worst augment ever. The in-betweens, I mean, they do exist. I'm not saying they don't. But sometimes when I'm facing a 3-star Kassadin with Riftwalk, I just feel so helpless because I can't do anything to kill him with my current team. But then if they have a 2-star, I'm like laughing because like it's the easiest round win ever. All in all, I'd say decent changes. Like obviously you have to nerf Twisted Fate. I think it's a little too much. But I guess they don't want people even thinking about him in the next patch to be triggered at all. Kind of like a low risk type of play, I think. Don't really agree with the golden ticket nerf. I think it's just good in reroll metas, and they're nerfing one of the reroll comps, so it probably should be a little worse anyways. Belveth, I'm happy about. Kaisa Fiora, happy about. Misfortune Darius, I'm happy about. Yeah, overall, like, is this a solid patch? It was a small one, right? Like compared to all the other ones, which were much, much bigger. I'm guessing they're doing it because the World Championships are probably going to be played on this patch. That's going to happen first week of November if you want to watch that. Maybe I'd do some commentary on that. I'm not sure. What's interesting to note is that Fiora getting buffed means like Demacia is probably going to be pretty good, right? It was only a small buff, like to her HP, right? Maybe she gets contested by the challenger player, so it keeps Demacia in check. That could be a thing too. Maybe we're back to a 4-cost meta though, because again, Twisted Fate, when one reroll comp is good, it makes other ones a bit better because everyone's going for like the same cost units. But it is a pretty small patch. It's probably going to be something very similar to before, but minus the Twisted Fate. I'm actually scared of Bilgewater a little bit because they've been buffing Bilgewater a bunch. Nyla was pretty good last patch, and then now you have the option of going Misfortune if you get AP items, assuming the Misfortune buffs are enough. So we kind of have to see about that. But let me know your thoughts on this patch in the comments below. Also, you could feel free to discuss it on my Discord. Links are in the description below as well. And we will be coming out with a meta snapshot on Friday to cover all the comps that you want to be playing in this current patch, and updated as well if they drop a B patch. So definitely keep your eyes peeled for that, and I hope to see you all in the next video.